called today, and I didn't get any answer back. So I don't think they're giving the lead because they're not here. So we are going to do Rihanna. We're going to read that. I'm going to do a lead from online. I pulled something up, and I'm going to read you this person's story. And y'all better pay attention because you're going to have to tell me what in that story could you relate to. And that's what we're going to go around and share on, what we can relate to in the story. Okay, so cool. Here we go. Hi everyone, my name is Rihanna and I'm an alcoholic. Today is day 870 for me. That number still catches me off guard because there was a time when I couldn't imagine one day sober. There was a time when I honestly didn't think I'd live long enough to have a future worth counting. Now I wake up every morning feeling human again. Not perfect, not always happy, but human. And that's huge for me because for a long time I was just existing, shaking, sick, scared, and ashamed. I'd wake up already behind, already defeated before the day even began. Now I wake up grateful, and that's a miracle. So I figure I'll start at the beginning. I was around 14 or 15 the first time I drank. Like a lot of us, I thought I was just being a teenager, testing limits, trying to fit in, chasing that sense of belonging that always felt out of reach. I grew up watching my dad drink. He wasn't violent or cruel. He was just angry and absent in a way. When he drank, it wasn't one or two beers. It was the kind of drinking that swallowed him whole. And I remember thinking, I'll never be like that. So naturally, I decided I'd just be a social drinker. You know, the classic line, I'll just have a few here and there, I'll control it, I'll be normal. I really believed that. Like I could outsmart alcoholism. Spoiler, I couldn't. My first drink wasn't even that remarkable. I remember that warmth that hit my stomach and then my head, that rush of, oh, this is it? For the first time in my life, the noise in my brain went quiet. I didn't feel anxious or insecure. I didn't feel like I was on the outside looking in. I felt okay and maybe even confident. Fast forward a few years to my 18th birthday, my sister took me to a strip club. She wanted me to have a real adult birthday. I mean, what could possibly go right? Go wrong, right? I got completely hammered. I remembered bits and pieces, the flashing lights, the music, the feeling of being untouchable, and then I remember projectile vomiting all over her in the car on the way home. You'd think that would have been my wake-up call, but instead we laughed about it. I turned it into a joke, and it became a funny story I'd retell. That's the kind of denial we live in early on. We confuse chaos for comedy. We convince ourselves it's all part of being young. But looking back now, that was my first real warning sign. Alcohol wasn't just something I did. It was already starting to define me. As I got older, drinking became part of everything. Birthday, heartbreaks, good days, bad days, boring weekends, and eventful weekends. There wasn't an emotion I don't drink over. If I was happy, I drank to celebrate. If I was sad, I drank to forget. If I was numb, I drank just to feel something. And it worked until it didn't. Yeah. I made a lot of poor choices, relationships that burned out fast, jobs I didn't take seriously, friends I let down. And through all of it, I never once blamed alcohol. I blamed the world. I blamed my bad luck, toxic people, timing, everything but the bottle in my hand. Alcohol wasn't the problem. It was my solution. It was my escape hatch, my reward, my medicine, my identity. But the truth is, I didn't know who I was without it. I didn't like silence because silence meant being alone with my thoughts, and my thoughts weren't kind. After years of burning bridges and running from myself, I hit a wall. I tried new jobs, new cities, new people, everything except changing me. And eventually I ran out of excuses. So in March of 2020, I joined the military. I remember thinking, this is it. This is my reset, structure, purpose, something bigger than me. I honestly thought discipline would fix me. I thought if I could just follow orders, I'd stop following the model. But you know what they say, wherever you go, there you are. My first duty assignment was in Germany. Beautiful country, full of history and adventure. I remember stepping off that plane thinking, this is the start of something new. And in a way, it was. Just not the way I expected. Germany has a drinking culture like no other. Beer is cheaper than water, and it's everywhere. Drinking there doesn't raise eyebrows. It's normal, it's social, it's woven into the culture. And for someone like me, that was a perfect camouflage. At first, it wasn't bad. A few beers after work, a night out on the weekends. It felt harmless, even earned. I told myself, I'm responsible now. I have a job, a uniform, a purpose. I can handle this. But alcohol doesn't care how responsible you are. It just waits patiently. Late 2021 changed everything. I got injured on the job badly enough that I lost a lot of my mobility, and that hit me harder than I expected. Physically, I was hurting, but mentally, I was crumbling, because I always defined myself by what I could do, and suddenly I couldn't do much of anything. I was overseas, away from family, trapped in a small room, and in the pandemic was hitting full force. Lockdowns, isolation, empty streets, empty days. And I started to fill that emptiness the only way I knew how, with alcohol. At first it was just to take the edge off. You know the phrase, just a drink to help me sleep, just a drink to help the pain. But the line between just a drink and every drink disappeared faster than I could notice. Pretty soon, drinking was my entire routine. I'd wake up, drink to steady my hands, drink to stop the nausea, drink to function, then drink again to stop how much I was drinking. Most nights, I'd drink myself to sleep. I was going through nearly 2 liters of vodka every day or two. Sometimes I'd try to hide a little for tomorrow, but tomorrow always came early. I remember carrying bags of empty bottles to the recycling bin, ashamed of how it must have looked. Like I was fooling anyone, I even fooled myself for a while. I told myself, I'm not that bad. I still showed up to work. I still paid the bills. I still showered most days. But that's what we call functioning, right? Functioning just enough to convince ourselves we're not broken. Inside, I was falling apart. But even then, I didn't stop. I just drank to stop thinking about it. That's how powerful the denial was. When I finally met my husband in 2022, I felt like hope again. He's such an incredible person, kind, patient, and grounded. I remember thinking this was my chance. This is my reason to get better. But instead of getting better, I got better at hiding. That's when it really hit me. I was living a double life. On the outside, I was married, working, and I was fine. But on the inside, I was terrified. I told myself, I'll quit after the weekend. I'll stop after the holiday. I'll stop when he finds out. But the truth is, I didn't know how to stop. Alcohol had become my oxygen. There is a kind of loneliness that comes with addiction. That's hard to describe. It's not just being alone. It's being surrounded by people and still feeling unseen. I could be sitting right next to my husband and feel miles away. You get so used to lying that honestly feels foreign. And even though part of me knew I needed help, I wasn't ready to ask for it. I was scared that if I said the words out loud, I'm an alcoholic, then it would be real. So I kept pretending, but you can't outdrink truth forever. Eventually it catches up with you. My first real encounter with AA wasn't some grand spiritual awakening. It was me sitting in my car in a church parking lot, half hungover, trying to talk myself into walking inside. I remember thinking, I'm not that bad. That line, I'm not that bad, kept me sick for a long time. But that day, something in me was cracking. I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. So I finally went inside. I walked into the room in a trailer at the church. Fluorescent lights, coffee brewing in the corner, a few people chatting quietly, and then that moment when someone looked up, smiled, and said, "Hey, glad you're here." It was such a simple thing, but it hit me. No one asked me what I'd done wrong. No one told me, "Fix yourself." They just welcomed me. But I wasn't ready. They started reading the big book. Every few lines, someone said the word God. And with every mention, I could feel myself tense up. The word God brought up a lot of negative stuff for me. Hold on, time out. Gotta get a drink. Sorry. By the end of the meeting, someone handed me my own copy of the big book. I said thank you, smiling politely, walked out, and never went back. Because at that time, I didn't want help, I wanted control. I thought, I can fix this on my own. I told myself, I'll just cut back. I'll drink only on the weekends. I'll switch from vodka to wine. That's the classic one, right? As if the problem was the brand, not the bottle. Then came 2023, the year my life finally cracked open. By that point, drinking wasn't just a habit. It was my heartbeat. I couldn't get through a single day without it. I'd wake up and immediately feel the withdrawal, the tremors, the panic, the nausea. I promised myself not today, and by noon I had already found an excuse. It wasn't until my therapist told me something that completely floored me. She said, "You've been living with an eating disorder for nearly 16 years. I remember sitting there stunned. I hadn't seen it that way. To me, it was just another form of control. Or at least that was what I told myself. But when she said it, something clicked. My drinking made my eating disorder worse. My eating disorder justified my drinking. It was perfect, vicious cycle of self-punishment and denial. I was starving and drowning myself at the same time. She suggested treatment for the eating disorder. I nodded and agreed, said I'd think about it, but inside I was frightened because I went to treatment. Because if I went to treatment, I couldn't drink. And if I couldn't drink, I'd have to feel everything I'd been avoiding. Still something in me knew it was time. When I finally decided to go, I remember standing in the front of my suitcase debating whether to bring my big book. I still didn't call myself an alcoholic. I told myself, yeah, I drink a lot, but I'm not like those people. I'm not that bad. In the end, I put the big book in the suitcase, but I covered it with another book jacket because God forbid anyone see that I had it. That's how deep my denial was. The day I left treatment, I was still drinking. I had 3 drinks at the airport bar and 3 more on the plane. That was my last hurrah. I landed, made it through the terminal, and checked into treatment, still half drunk, still terrified, and yet something shifted. The day after was July 12, 2023, my sobriety date. I didn't know then, but that day would change my life. Treatment wasn't easy, detoxing was brutal, my body fought me every step of the way, shaking, sweating, panicking. But then, somewhere in the fog, I met a guy named Mark. Mark had this calm energy, the kind of peace you can't fake. He wasn't preachy, he just listened, and one day he said, "You should check out a meeting called Come One, Come All. They meet every day online. No judgment, no pressure, just people who get it." So I logged in, and that's when something changed. People were laughing, sharing, crying, being real. No mask, no pretending. I listened to people tell stories that sounded just like mine. And for the first time, I didn't feel alone. That's the moment I started to believe that maybe, just maybe, there was a way out. When I got out of treatment, I was roughly 61 days sober. I remember thinking, I've got this now. I'm fixed. Oh, the delusion of early recovery. Yeah. I was still white-knuckling it, holding on to the idea that I could manage my life. Now that I detoxed, but the truth was, I didn't have a clue how to live sober. My brain was constantly screaming, for that old solution, that drink that could quiet everything down. And here's the thing. I didn't even crave the buzz. I craved the escape. I wanted that moment when the noise stopped. But now I had to sit in the noise. I had to feel it. And I hated it. I started going to come one, come all meetings regularly. At first I barely spoke. I just sit in the back of the room, heart metaphorically back of the room, heart pounding, hoping no one would call on me. But something about this room started softening me. I remember a woman who shared one time. She said, I didn't come to AA to get sober. I came to learn how to stop hating myself. And that hit me like a brick. Because that was me. I didn't just have a drinking problem. I had a me problem. I couldn't stand to be in my own skin. I used alcohol to quiet the voice that told me I wasn't enough. That when I started to understand that recovery wasn't about willpower, it was about surrender. That word surrender used to make me feel uneasy. I thought it meant weakness. But what I have learned since is that surrender is actually the most contagious thing I've ever done. Courageous thing I've ever done. It says, I can't do this alone anymore. My sponsor was tough as nails, with eyes that saw straight through me. She made me start by writing. She said, write down all the things you think alcohol gave you. So I did. Confidence, escape, fun, belonging, courage, peace. Then she made me write what alcohol actually took from me. My health, my honesty, my joy, my marriage, my self-respect. Because that was the truth I'd been avoiding. The steps started to make sense after that. Not as rules, but as a path. Step one was easy to say, but hard to live. Admitting I was powerless, that was humbling, because I built my whole identity around control. But the truth was, control had nearly killed me. Step 2 and 3, that's where I started wrestling with the idea of a higher power. For a while, I told people my higher power was Mother Nature. It felt safer than saying God. But over time, something shifted, and I started to feel connected again to something bigger than me, something that wasn't judging me, but guiding me. I now believe my higher power is the universe, and that's enough for me. One of the hardest moments came when I started making my amends. There is this thing they don't tell you about step 9. It's not about saying sorry. It's about changing. I made amends to my husband, not by giving him a speech, but by showing up differently, by being honest, by staying sober. There was a night, a few months in, when we watched a movie. Out of nowhere, he looked at me and said, I'm proud of you. And I swear I almost lost it, because I hadn't heard those words in a long time. As the months went on, I started to feel kind of peace I didn't recognize. I remember waking up one morning and realizing I hadn't thought about drinking that night before. And for once, that silence was beautiful. Sobriety didn't fix my life overnight, but it gave me a clarity to start rebuilding it. I had to relearn everything. How to socialize, how to celebrate, how to grieve, how to be still. And in the stillness, I found something I never expected myself. I learned how to sit in discomfort without running. I learned how to say no without guilt. And I learned that healing isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Early sobriety taught me this. Recovery isn't about getting your old life back. It's about building a new one from the ashes. When I hit 1 year sober, I remember sitting in a meeting holding the custom 1-year chip that my sponsor had gotten me, and it felt heavier than I expected, not because of the metal, but because of what it represented. Every sleepless night, every craving, every phone call, every tear, every time I didn't pick up the bottle. That chip was a miracle. Not the flashy kind you read about, but the quiet, ordinary miracle that happens when broken people decide to keep going. For the first time in my life, I didn't want to escape anymore. My relationship with my body had changed too. For 16 years, I lived at war with it. My eating disorder was my first addiction. My first way of trying to control the uncontrollable. When I got sober, all the pain came up again. Without alcohol numbing it, I had to actually face it. And it's been hard, really hard, but I've learned that healing doesn't mean loving every part of myself all the time. It means not abandoning myself anymore. When I came into the rooms, I thought I had nothing to offer. I thought I was broken beyond repair. But people told me, "You've got a story, that's enough." So I started sharing, and one day I remember a newcomer came up to me and said, "Hey, what you said really helped me." That's when I understood that AA really is. It's about staying sober together. Every time I help someone else, I remember where I came from. I remember the airport bar, the hidden bottles, the shaky mornings, and I remember that I never want to go back there. That's what keeps me grateful. That's what keeps me sober. Of course, not every day is a rainbow and sunshine. I still get hit with cravings sometimes, not for the drink itself, but for the escape. There are days when my brain whispers, "Wouldn't one drink take the edge off?" And that's when I pick up the phone. That's when I go to a meeting. That's when I tell on myself. Because I've learned that the second I keep a secret, I'm in danger. Today, my life isn't about escaping anymore. It's about showing up for my husband, for my friends, for myself. I laugh more, I feel more, I cry more, I live more. I don't chase chaos anymore, I chase peace. And I find it every day in small ways, in the smell of coffee, in my dog's tail wagging, in the quiet moments before the sun rises. That's recovery. It's not loud, it's not glamorous, it's humble, steady, and sacred. And it's enough. If you're new to AA and you're sitting here wondering if it can work for you, I want you to know something. I didn't think it could work for me either. I thought I was far gone, too damaged, too skeptical, too stubborn. But here I am at 870 days sober and still learning, still healing, still showing up. AA didn't just give me sobriety, it gave me myself. To the newcomers, I want you to know that I get it. I know how terrifying it feels to think about life without alcohol. I remember sitting where you are, wondering if I could actually do this. And I promise you, it gets better. You just have to keep coming back, one meeting at a time, one day at a time. And if you're struggling, please don't do it alone. Reach out, share, connect. You never know whose story might save your life, or whose life you might save by sharing yours. Today I get to wake up sober, and I get to go to sleep sober. That's the miracle.
Wow, thanks.
Sorry, I didn't really realize it was that long, but it was on the phone. But if we had a lead, I guess we'd, yeah. So. Anyways, hey, I'm going to ask who's out there on the phone, and we're going to start with you guys on the phone. If you want to introduce yourself and share, we'll start with you there, out there.
I'm Sharon, recovering alcoholic.
Hey, Sharon.
And, wow, I could relate to so much of that. You know, wow, a whole lot. You know, couldn't quit drinking. Completely lost myself. And I remember walking into a meeting and seeing people laugh, and that really meant something to me, because at the point I walked into a meeting, I wasn't laughing anymore. So, thank you for sharing that story, Joanie. It was pretty awesome. That's all I got.
Thanks, Sharon.
Thanks, Sharon. I'm Jim. I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, that was a good story, honey. There's a classic one where, started early and took it long, and then, to give up control, really, truly surrender. There's a lot of things that I just couldn't comprehend the first time I got sober, and complete surrender was one of them. Complete humility was another one. Rigorous honesty was another one. The whole concept of being able to dig deep and tell myself when I needed to, and all of that was just lost on me. I don't know if I was just unprepared, or my piece was just speaking that loud or screaming that loud, I don't know, but when I got it, I finally got it, and I'm so glad, because I was afraid that I was just one of those guys that couldn't get it. Yeah. I'm sure I'll think of some other things that connected to her with. Yeah, thanks. That's John.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Oh, and congrats to Fred.
No problem, thank you.
Ah, cool.
Call me, buddy.
Okay, buddy.
Anybody else on the phone that would like to just introduce themselves? Okey-dokey. All right, then we're gonna open it up to the room.
When she was explaining about how her father,
And you were?
Dan, recovering alcohol.
Hey, Dan.
Dan?
How she started out talking about how her father drank, and then, kind of led into her drinking just socially. She thought that was acceptable. I feel like you're almost brainwashed into it as growing up. The way, whether your parents drink, you watch commercials, you see advertisements everywhere, it's just there, alcohol's there. And for me, for a long time, I wouldn't consider myself a drinker, just did it socially. I guess that is where I made the mistake of thinking, well, it's just social. I'm just doing it. But it was like every weekend I drank because there was something to be social about. So that's what I took out of that. It's always around, whether from little kid to adult time. I mean, 21 is, hey, you're not allowed to drink now, so let's go celebrate. I mean, you can't get away from it. I mean, it's there the whole time. So, yeah, that's what I got.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jim.
My name's Wes, I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Wes.
Well, there are many things there. I think the first thing that I reacted to or hit me was that you did a really good job of explaining what her experience was with an allergy and an allergy of the body and an obsession of the mind.
Yeah.
Because she was physically addicted, as I was. I think that most of us probably were. That's the allergy part, And the, you have to have it. She had to function. I had to function. I didn't have to drink in the morning. But if I had the chance, I would. If I didn't have to work. And yeah, she explained what detox was like. I did it 8 times. Once in 2004, 7 times, and 2020, 2019 to November 9th, 2019 to October 2021, 7 times. Each detox was worse. more loss of balance. I remember, and I've told us before, I could not stand up out of my reading chair. I had to get down on my hands and knees and crawl over to the door jamb so I could pull myself up. Because I had no balance to stand up, I would fall over. So, yeah, but then she also talked about, she had to learn that you don't turn off the essential of the mind by saying, I'm an alcoholic and I think I'll be sober now. Putting the plug in the jug, just the start. There's a reason why it was effective at one point. She said, it worked. I escaped. It worked. Until it didn't. There's a reason she drank long enough to get physically addicted, because something going on, she needed it. And I related to that. I could say that's my story. I needed it. And I functioned for, I guess I was a daily drinker about 20 years. And yes, I could make up a story so I got away with it. But you don't really. You know, I didn't really. But obsession of the mind. You gotta, after you can think straight, because the plug's in the jug, well, how do I deal with the stuff I didn't want to deal with? Well, there's that fourth step, isn't there? Ha! There's that eighth and ninth step, isn't there? Ah! Oh, geez. This will be fun. And, it was scary, but it worked. And sometimes, as she had to learn what surrender really was, I had to relearn what surrender was, or I wouldn't be back here. I wouldn't still be alive. And on that positive note, I'll pass.
Thanks, Wes.
I know, I'm all that.
Yeah.
Well, I liked a lot of what she said, and I lived a lot of what she said. But when she said, you know, the first time somebody come up and liked what she shared, a newcomer telling her, I remember I had 3 weeks in, and we was talking about prayer, and I was and somebody who had 6 years in this program says, I'm going to try that when I pray. That's great. Boy, I mean, I was on cloud nine. Hey, I said something, Alcoholics Anonymous, that's going to help somebody. And I still do, and, you know, I've heard a lot of good things in these rooms that I pass on. That's why we get it. We get it, we learn it, we pass it on to help another. And that's the Celebration Alcoholics. I don't know how many months I had in, a guy had a share, and I says, I really like it. I'm going to need to use that. It was such a simple thing. Boys have an exit. And it's the first time I heard it. My gosh, that's nice. You get into something, have a way out. I thought that was one of the greatest things since, what is it, baked bread? Something like that, you know?
Slice bread.
Or something like that. Yeah, well, whatever you want to do, follow the Bible. But, you know, I have friends who have a lot of years in here, and when you say something and then you hear this 50-year veteran in AA pass on something that you shared with him, I mean, I know I'm doing good in my 12-step, plus I'm keeping myself sober. It's not just all 12-step, it's every step, every day. You got to make sure, I mean, I don't have to every day say do a step 1, but on days I want to drink, if I do step 1, that's usually enough to back in my chair again. Well, she wants to get out of the chair today. But, not all that.
Thanks, Al.
Chad, recovering addict.
Hey, Chaz.
Related to the, hiding, using behind her partner's back, and so behind my wife's back, I was using it for a while, a long time without her knowing, and, you don't realize that when you're doing that, you're taking away from your family, you know? And, the weight of the guilt and shame, and it gets heavy, it gets really heavy, to the point that you feel suffocated. And that's what I was suffocated, you know, and, when I realized I needed help, it was almost too late. But by the grace of God, I was able to get that help, and then by getting that help, I was able to find these rooms. And these rooms are what really keep me sober today, along with my higher power. And, but the withdrawals, I can relate to as well. I've gone through my share of withdrawals. So, but she had a lot of good stuff in her story. I'm glad she was able to find these rooms, as I'm glad all of us were able to find these rooms. Work in steps. As Al says, work the program. It's a simple program, but we only complicate it if we want to. That's the only way it gets complicated. So with that, I'll pass things.
Kevin, I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Kevin.
And, yeah, I can relate to a lot of things in that story, and my problem is I can't remember all of them. You know, but, you know, starting at the beginning, you know, I started drinking at a young age, you know, and, you know, and I don't know when I crossed that line and become an alcoholic, but I know that the more I drank, the more I liked what alcohol produced for me. And I like what it done for me. And, you know, and that went on for a while until, you know, I knew that those blackouts and those hangovers and them shakes and all that stuff, I knew that that wasn't normal drinking for what most people, because I had known a lot of people that drank, some drank a lot, and I just didn't never know of them going through what I was going through. And, you know, and then it came a time, she said, that she tried to outsmart alcohol. And I spent a lot of years trying to outsmart the disease of alcoholism by doing something a little different, trying to drink something different, trying to eat a big meal before I went out and done, and, you know, drink a glass of milk or something, all kinds of, eat bread and butter. I don't know, there was all kinds of stuff in there, and none of it worked. And, you know, but I was trying to get that, outsmart that disease. I wasn't trying to do something that I didn't get drunk, but what I wanted, I didn't want to get too drunk. Yeah. And that was, I could never find that. I could never find that, because once I started, then I could not quit. And, you know, and maybe some of them things I'd done, had I drank in moderation, might have helped me. Who knows, you know? But I never drank in moderation. So there was a lot of good stuff in that story, and I could relate to a lot of it. I just can't remember all of it. So with that, I'll pass. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
One thing I got from Kevin, well, the more you eat, the more you eat that.
Well, that's true sometimes.
Dan.
Hi,
I'm
Dan.
an alcoholic.
And then,
So, I'm court ordered to take these, or be here at these meetings.
okay,
First couple meetings, I wasn't real sure. It was kind of like her. I was Dan. And then after I started going to regularly, I started looking forward to it because I found a group that I liked. And it almost became kind of like I forgot that I even had to do this. It was, I wanted to do it every week, go to that meeting every week. I was just talking to a friend before I came here, and he asked me, he said, are you going to continue to do them after, after your court order or whatever? And I said, yeah. I said, why would I stop them? It's helped me continue my sobriety. I like seeing people at the meetings. I like hearing different stories. And I told him, I said, if there's a newcomer that is in my shoes that I had, and if I tell a story or if I say something, it could help them.
yeah,
Because he brought it up to me, he said, for New Year's, I think I'm going to start my New Year's resolution be to stop drinking. I said, why do you guys wait till then? I said, start now. I told him, I said, I got a front seat. I said, I'll drive you to the meeting today if you want to go. I said, but not, if not, I said, I can give you information and you can go when you're ready. I said, but don't wait. I said, if you want to truly quit drinking, it would be the best thing for you. There's not a bad thing coming from it. I told him, I said, you're only going to better yourself if you don't drink. So, yeah, he kind of was like, well, you're going to continue going to this? I'm like, why would I stop? But, looking back on that, the first couple of meetings was like, I can't wait to get these done so I don't ever have to come back to these.
yeah,
But I realized that by me saying that wasn't me today. To me, today is a new me, and I like where I'm at. And so, yes, I'm glad I don't. I have that off my back, and I can come as I want
yeah,
and go to as many as I want. And I just told my friend, I hope he doesn't wait till New Year's.
yeah,
Why wait? That was my thing. I wish I would have had somebody in my corner before I got in the league. I wish somebody would have said, hey, come to this meeting with me. And like last night, I had another friend, we were talking. I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm out drinking. I said, don't drive. She's like, well, I will be. I'm like, don't drink and drive. I said, it's not worth it. Not worth it to you, not worth it to somebody else. I said, if you need somebody to come get you, call. Text me. I'm up. I'll be there. She chose to drive home. And I know that I shouldn't distance myself from people like that. I know I should be there to help them. Like my dad used to say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
make them thirsty.
But I have put out my hand several times for, here's a helping hand. And I just don't want to see anything bad happen, but also at the same time, it's like, something's gotta change with the way she's doing things. It's hard, because I wanna be there, I wanna help her, but at the same time, it makes me mad that she doesn't think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's tough, being in that spot.
You don't worry about yourself.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Dan.
Well, I'm Joanie, I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Johnny.
And, we all had to take every drink we had to take to get here, and, yeah, there's a lot of people that need this program, but, if you're sitting around these tables today, then it's a good thing. And I sure know a bunch that I wish were here too, so. Anyways, that brings us to the end of the meeting. Anybody have, anything else they quickly want to share?
Well, it was last time out.
It was.
They should just spread the word, tell people not to get, sober in January, because a lot of people get sober in January. You wanna have an anniversary in a month when there ain't a whole lot of people. So, November, December would be a good month.
Thanks, Wes.
Hey, Wes.
All right, you see here what you hear here, let it stand there, and
You're here.
I can't, I didn't bring my phone.
Oh, no.
You got Bluetooth? This is an iPhone or what? Is yours an iPhone?
yeah, but mine's not, I've tried numerous things.
Yeah, shut up. Well, it's like fun.
I
You
know.
talk to somebody.
Where's that called? Taro?
Well, nobody in here has
Who's
that.
got Bluetooth on?
I got Bluetooth on mine.
Yeah, it's an anchor. Anybody got the anchor? Everybody turn your Bluetooth on. Turn Bluetooth on.
Turn it off?
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
I can't.
You want me to turn mine off?
hearing aids, I have to have it for my
You can turn it that far in there.
Yeah, turn mine off.
Just,
Alright, turn it off.
Everybody off?
I'm not. I am now.
Yeah, you turn yours back on.
Okay.
One plus Nord.
No, it will say anchor,
Somebody
A-N-K-E-R.
somebody hooked up.
Anchor Power
Wouldn't it tell me if I was hooked up?
Is this
it?
He's got it on his.
You got
Anchor,
it.
oh, you're hooked up?
Everything on Power BLE.
Yep, anchor, that's him.
That's it.
All right, do you want to, call the conference call number and stay hooked up? Or turn yours off?
It's not here.
It did.
Oh, is it? Is it here?
Yeah. Well, with somebody it is.
Mine can be
My
here.
Bluetooth's off.
Mine is too.
Why don't you turn,
Here, let me see if it's.
tell me, turn yours off and let Jimmy go.
Alright, I'll turn it off.
Bluetooth is off? Okay.
And I have Frederick, I don't have anything here. Sorry, guys.
No
The fun of
worries.
the technology fun.
Yeah, it's aggravating to me too.
I wonder if I just call it, maybe I am hooked up.
Just call it and see what happens.
Yeah, maybe you gotta call in first.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, you don't have to sit there, you only have two items, you know, leave here and a mark, and I was thinking, that's a lot easier way than that.
I do that, cause somebody else was connected.
Somebody's connected.
But it recognized.
Hey, Don.
It works. We're in business.
Well, that's my phone. That's not this.
And that's something, 1 plus more, 200, 205 G. Check the other tabs.
Alright,
Sorry guys, hey out there, we're trying to figure out this, speaker, somebody.
they're still in.
So we're gonna let Tony connect to the speaker, so just give us about 2 minutes here. And we'll get back on. Alright, sorry. We'll be on in about 2 minutes.
You handle that so well.
Hi, Don.
Maybe 5.
How you doing?
I'd be a mess.
Big
Good.
deal.
Yeah.
Huh? What are we gonna do, start our meeting 5 minutes late?
Yeah.
If it snowed all night like it did yesterday, we got a lot more.
Oh, they did.
Better,
But then you just shit compared to what
I
I
have
have
to
now.
know that now.
I was down outside of Kettering and Riverside.
Well,
Try again.
It was,
okay.
it was that deep
Oh, yeah?
That's ridiculous.
Go to my
down
Bluetooth.
there.
Yeah.
It took me
That
around
means-
45 minutes to get.
Yeah, fucking talk to someone.
Hey, look, don't worry about it. We're just gonna do my
We just
phone.
don't know who it is.
Okay. That's fine.
And so,
We're just stressing
You
us
have
out.
your phone?
more than
And you didn't have your phone.
Have your phone. My bus is
Oh, bless your heart. Bless your heart, Wes.
I got it.
Sorry.
Wes is hooked up to it.
Wes, you're hooked
The
up.
only one who didn't turn it
You
into.
guys knew you were hooked up.
I just went through the
What did you do,
and
Jay?
hooked everything back up.
If you are the host,
We
press
love,
please enter.
we love them anyway.
Hey, we got.
There we are.
Yay.
Good. Never seen anybody yell. Good.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
She did it on purpose.
I know I throw shit a lot. Trust
Pain
me.
in the ass.
Here, read some.
Now I gotta restart my phone. Well, if I disconnect the hearing aid, I gotta restart my phone, it's a pain in the
Oh my
ass.
God, really?
Yeah, it's a pain in the
You
ass.
should.
Working.
Way to go, Wes. Now, Fred has a pain in the ass getting this hearing aid.
I'm sorry.
He tries his best.
Wes is making amends.
It's all right. I just gotta restart my phone. And then get it reconnected.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I can hear, I mean, the hearing aids work, it's just my.
All right,
Connected
let's,
to my
let's
phone.
get this.
So the
Oh, I
Bluetooth
probably
on
just
the phone,
turned it off. You guys still there?
my hearing aids are like, I can use them like earbuds.
Hello?
Oh, okay. But to use
Remember that damn thing.
earbuds like Bluetooth.
You guys still there?
Like anything. To listen to.
I hear
We
you.
are.
Okay. Yeah,
Sure.
I hit a button. All right, go ahead and mute your phones there out there. Hey, everybody, my name is Joanie, and I am an alcoholic.
Hey, Joanie.
Welcome to the Court Recovery Group of Alcoholics Anonymous. Would you please help me open this meeting with the surrender prayer?
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
This is our preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for AA membership is the desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and to help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And with that, my friend, my name is Dwayne, tell us how the program works.
Wayne, I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Dwayne.
How it works. Rarely have I seen a person fail, but it's sure to follow their path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. They are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those, too, who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories expose in a way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. You have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, and you are ready to take certain steps. And some of these we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on our old ideas and the faultless limb until we let go absolutely. Remember that we deal with alcohol. Cunning, baffling, powerful. I'll help it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Half measures avail us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested in the program of recovery. One, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to restore our lives over the care of God as we understood it. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of themselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when the do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscience contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Many of us exclaim, "What an order, I can't go through with it." Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. We make spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, chapter 2, the agnostic, and our personal adventures, before and after, make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C, that God could have.
Thanks, Wayne.
I'm alcoholic.
Yeah.
Hey, promises. One, if you're anything about this day's going development, you'll be amazed before you're halfway through. 2, you're going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. 3, you will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door. 4, you will comprehend the worst of your enemy and you will know peace. 5, no matter how far down the scale we are going, we can see how our experience can help deliver. 6, that feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. 7, we will lose interest in self-esteem and gain interest in our fellows. 8, self-seeking will slip away. 9, our whole attitude and outlook on life will change. 10, the fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. 11, we will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. 12, we'll suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises?
No.
Think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They always materialize as we work for them.
Thanks, Al.
And next we have the daily reflections.
I'm Chad, I'm a recovering addict.
Hey, Chaz.
Today's daily reflection, December 14th, reaching out. Never talk down to an alcoholic from any moral or spiritual hilltop. Simply lay out the spiritual tools for his inspection. Show him how they work with you. Alcoholics Anonymous Do I have a tendency to look at him from my perceived angles of success in AA? Do I compare him with the large number of acquaintances I have made in fellowship? Do I point out to him in a magisterial way the glories of AA? What is my real attitude toward him? I must examine myself whenever I meet a newcomer to make sure that I am carrying the message with simplicity, humility, and generosity. The one who still suffers from this terrible disease of alcoholism must find in me a friend who will allow him to get to know the AA way. Because I had such a friend when I arrived in AA. Today it is my turn to hold out my hand with love to my sister or brother alcoholic and to show her or him the way to happiness.
Thanks.
No problem.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
For our day.
I'm Johnny, an alcoholic.
Hey, Tony.
AA talk for the day. The way of AA is the way of service. Without that, it would not work. We have been on the wagon and hated it. We have taken the pledge and waited for the time to be up with impatience. We have tried in all manners of ways to help ourselves, but not until we begin to help other people do we get full relief. It is an axiom that the AA program has to be given away in order to be kept. The river flows into the Dead Sea and stops. The river flows into a clear pool and flows out again. We get and then we give. And if we do not give, we do not keep. Having given up all ideas of avoiding AA for myself alone. Meditation for the day. Try to see the life of the Spirit as a calm place, shut away from the turmoil of the world. Think of your spiritual home as a place full of peace, serenity, and contentment. Go to this quiet, meditative place for the strength to carry you through daily duties and problems. Keep coming back here for refreshment when you are weary of the hubbub of the outside world. From this quietness, communion comes our strength. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may keep this resting place where I can commune with God. I pray that I may find refreshment in meditation on the eternal.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
And somebody has that, so Steve's it right there, Fred.
Fred, I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Fred.
I chose what I open to. Day of homecoming. Sobriety means a long life and happiness for the individual. So does unity mean exactly the same to our society as a whole. Unified we live, disunited we shall perish. We must think deeply of those sick ones still to come to AA. As they try to make a return of faith into life, we want them to find everything in AA that we have found, and yet more, if that is possible. No care, no vigilance, no effort to preserve AA's constant effectiveness and spiritual strength will ever be too great to hold us in full readiness for the day of their homecoming.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm way off. Is that all our readings out there?
That's it, darling.
Okay, that's it. So
Chips.
then that brings us to announcements, and I do have one in here.
I'm not sure.
Go out to.
We'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
I'm just jumping around a little bit. AA Alcathon meeting will be held throughout the night, December 31st, 6 to 12 midnight, Grand Lake United Methodist Church. Please bring a snack, a friend, and enjoy New Year's Eve. Hope to see you there. Sponsored by Montezuma Group and Carl L. Any questions, call Carl at, you can get the number up here.
All right.
And does anybody else have any announcements out there?
Tuesday night's the sausage and sauerkraut in Sydney.
Tuesday night, sausage and sauerkraut. Always a good time, good lead. Anything else? Okay, well, I'm gonna pass this here 7 tradition basket around while Kevin does our tokens for us this evening.
Kevin, I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Kevin.
In the Port Recovery Group, we have a token system here. We recognize different lengths of sobriety. First token we have is a 24-hour token. Does anybody need a 24-hour token today? First meeting since their last drink. And then we have monthly tokens. We have 1 through 11 months. Anybody have a?
Fred has his hand up.
10 months.
All right.
If you guys want my stuff.
Come on. Give him 2 fives.
Give it to you.
Who do you think?
Oh, boy. I don't have a 10 right now,
No,
Fred.
I'm gonna.
I'm Fred for striking out today.
10 and 11. We gave Jared the last 11 last week.
Okay, well then we need to order.
Well,
I'll get it tomorrow.
all right, but we'll give you congratulations. Okay, then we move on to 1 year. Okay, then we have an 18-month.
I don't need one, but I just got my chip last week for 18 months.
All right. Congratulations. What's your name?
Okay, then we have yearly tokens on up for a long time. We got a whole bunch of them. Anybody celebrating any year? Is anybody celebrating any time they'd like to have recognized today? Well, we all got today. Let's get it done.
All right. That it? That'd be it? Okay. I had a lead. Did I hit a button again?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. This is what we're gonna do. This is a conference speaker, so we should be able to set it in this room and not move it around, and it should pick up our voices without any problem. So we're just gonna set it right here. And there we go. It's gonna stay there. All right, now, that's the whole idea behind the conference phone. It only took us a couple years.
Well, I'll have to ask the
Yeah.
people whether they can.
Yeah. If you guys can't hear, just stop the meeting and say, I can't hear. And we'll move that maybe around. All right, well, here's what we're gonna do. Yeah, I had a lead and I texted him a couple days ago and I